allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Hereby call the meeting of the Fairfield Town Council Annual Organizational meeting together at this time. And the first order of business is to swear in our newly elected town councilor, Mark Cooper. Mark Cooper, if you would rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and this state as long as you continue a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge to the best of your abilities duties incumbent on you according to the Constitution and laws of the state of God?
Yes, I will.
If you would sign here, please. Thank you, sir. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Back. All right. The second order of business for the organizational meeting is to accept nominations for chair. Do I hear a nomination?
I would like to nominate John Pichard.
Second.
Michelle, you're capturing all that?
Yep.
Okay. Are there any other nominations for chair? Seeing none, all those in favor of John Pichotti as council chair, please raise your hand. Opposed and abstain? And would the chair like to take over the gavel at this time, or would you like me to continue?
No,
Okay.
you may continue.
Okay. The third order of business is to accept nominations for a vice chair. Do I hear a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Michael Taylor for vice chair.
Second.
Okay, second. Are there any other nominations? Seeing none, please raise your hands to signify if you're in favor. Opposed? Abstain? Michael Taylor, congratulations, vice chair.
Thank you.
The fourth order of organizational business is to accept nominations for a secretary. Do I hear a nomination?
I'd like to nominate Peter Lawrence as secretary.
Is there a second?
I will second that.
Any other nominations? All in favor of Peter Lawrence? Please raise your hand. Opposed and abstain. Thank you. Congratulations. And at this time, I am going to turn the gavel over to the council chair with your cheat sheet for the evening.
Okay. Are we gonna, we're not on TV yet?
We are.
Oh, we're on.
Oh, because there's nothing up there.
That is the television for the Zoom
Oh,
piece. So if somebody who's out in Zoom land needs to speak, they will come up on your
okay.
television.
There's nobody up there in Zoom land then, huh?
Well, they're out there, they're just not speaking, so.
Oh, okay. All right. You say so. Okay, so we're through the first annual organizational meeting. So that brings us to the first order of business, which is public announcements. The town office and all non-emergency services will be closed on Monday, January 18th, in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And the 2018-2019 property tax lien foreclosure date is January 19th. Taxes must be paid that day by 3 p.m. Public hearings. I have none. There's no public hearings. Moving to the third order of business. Now, this is a limit 3-minute equivalent to public speaking. Members of the public may email comments to the council at info@fairfieldme.com by 4 p.m. the day of the meeting on any topic or agenda item. These items may be read aloud at this time. Was there anything that was emailed in or anything? Nothing?
Nothing.
Okay. Moving on to the fourth order of business, which is reports from staff and committees. First report up is the town manager's report.
Okay, so on January 5th, the Fairfield Economic Community Development Committee met. Councilor Thibodeau is going to give you an update on that meeting and their actions. January 12th, there was a KBCOG Board of Directors meeting. KBCOG has received funding from the EDA through the CARES Act for a revolving loan fund program for area businesses. This is a very broad loan program, and if you're aware of any local businesses in need of any assistance at this time, to please put them in contact with either myself or KBCOG directly. This morning, the Central Maine Growth Council had their Board of Directors meeting. It's actually rather staggering how much is being done in our region through the Central Maine Growth Council's efforts. In fact, we had a conversation about the fact that Maine and Company, who is usually the lead generator for economic development in the state of Maine, isn't as busy as we are.
Wow.
So that's really good. We're working on things such as possible expansion of the foreign trade zone, leads and legwork for multi-million-dollar developments in several of our area communities, as well as various different grant opportunities throughout the area. So that was really good, and there was a discussion today. If you haven't noticed in the news, the Paycheck Protection Program has opened up for a second round. That did open this week. Loans will cover additional expenses, including operations expenditures, property damage costs, supplier costs, and work protection expenditures. And they've limited it, they've downsized the scope a little bit so that it actually helps more small businesses. So you have to have no more than 300 employees and can demonstrate at least 25% reduction in cost receipts between comparable quarters in 2019 and 2020. So anyone who may be interested in that program, even if you received it in the previous round, you may still be eligible again for a second round. And you can contact the Growth Council, Small Business Administration, or KBCOG regarding that as well. And then again, with our efforts, so some project updates, with Garvin Donegan from the Growth Council, he and I drafted a press release regarding the town's facade improvement and marketing assistance program. That press release went out yesterday afternoon. It has appeared today in the Morning Sentinel, as well as on Maine Biz's website. WABI-TV is looking to do a piece, and the Town Line. This program has been a catalyst for more than $137,000 of investment in our community, which is something definitely for y'all to be proud of for the last 3 years. Recent discussions regarding a possible credit enhancement agreement with a company looking to locate within the Industrial Road TIF zone. That's a new project that we're working on. A while back, we had discussed the Mountain View Senior Housing Project that was happening on Mountain Ave. I did receive an update last month that they are still continuing to move forward and have hit some funding benchmarks, so that's still going good. Your 21-22 budget draft should be available by your next meeting. That's been most of our time in the last few weeks. There have been various news media pieces regarding the MDEP's PFAS investigation. I continue to have conversations with various state agencies, and hopefully council saw your email just days before Christmas. I did send that out to you regarding the fact that DEP will be installing activated carbon filtration systems and maintenance agreements on all of the affected wells in town. This will be done at no cost to residents. This is considered a short-term solution in hopes that the public water infrastructure will be expanded to these residents. There's currently 25 affected wells. Of those 28 affected wells. Of those 28, 24 households receive bottled water. The current distribution amount is 448 gallons per week. To date, 1,459 gallons have been distributed. And of that 448, only about half in any given week actually take the water. We currently have at least a 2-week supply on hand, and DEP is aware of that and is working on replenishing those supplies until those filtration systems can be installed. That's it for me.
Okay. Committee reports. Yes.
The Economic and Community Development Committee met on January 5th, and we talked about the term renewals, which we will be working on later in our meeting. And it's a very unique situation because both Peter and I are on the committee, and came to the conclusion that only one of us can vote, so that was a matter of discussion. Small business opportunities, as Michelle has mentioned, were discussed through KVCOG and the Central Maine Growth Council. We also talked about the survey that is going to be coming out. As a committee, we reviewed it, and we are now at the point where we are going to be asking members of the town office and my fellow councilors to take this survey as a trial run, and it will be online, and make sure you're looking for that. I believe it's going to go through our emails, if I'm,
It will be,
It will.
actually. If it doesn't happen by the end of this week, it'll definitely be by the beginning of next week.
Okay.
They're working on the finishing touches of that. I got an update today.
and you'll only have to take it once. You don't need to do it again. It's going to be logged in. We'll have your answers. It's much more focused now than it was initially, and really looking at the waterfront and Mill Island Park. So we also talked about our meeting times, because we haven't been able to really get quorums for the past few months. And so a doodle poll took place, and the result of the doodle poll was that most people were able to make it on the first Tuesday at 3:30 PM rather than at the 8:30 timeframe. So we're looking at a meeting change there, so, and that's it.
Any other committee reports to come up with? There being none, I'm gonna play football referee and take this off so people can hear me. All right. The fifth order of business is the consent agenda. Now, these items are considered routine and standard business, and therefore will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member so requests prior to consideration of this portion of the agenda, in which event then that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered sequentially on the agenda. Item 20-01 ordered that the Fairfield Town Council hereby waives the reading of and accepts the minutes for meeting 2020-22 held on December 16th, 2020. The second is 20-02, ordered that the Town Council hereby approves the treasurer's warrant. So I will look for a motion.
So moved.
Accept.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor? Carries. The sixth order of business, to take action on the following items of business as read by Council Chair. Item 20-03, order that the Town Council hereby approves the purchase and installation of an alarm system to the Fairfield Community Center up to the amount of $12,000, with funds to be expended from the Building Capital Improvement Reserve account.
So moved.
Second.
All right, everybody's got a, I think everybody got a copy of the alarm system and the cost, et cetera. Yes.
Is this a replacement or
It is.
addition?
It's a replacement for our existing system. Chief Bickford is on tonight, so to give you some information regarding this system, but basically the system we currently have is completely outdated and needs to be redone. And it's actually had some ailments for quite some time, and we've kind of been band-aiding it together, and we've gotten to the point where we can't kick that can down the road anymore.
Yeah, I see just one estimate.
There is just one estimate, because this is the alarm company that we currently use, but Dwayne can give you a
Okay.
little bit more information on that if you would like.
Does Dwayne want to come on? On our Zoom.
He's trying to unmute himself. There he is.
Yeah, I had my mouse. This is the alarm company that we now use. The alarm system is actually original to the building. So I believe it's around 1974 or in that era when the building was built.
Wow.
That would be correct.
The panel, there is no battery backup on the panel. That is just given out and they can't seem to get it fixed. A lot of the heads are heat detectors and not smoke detectors. we want to change some of those out. And there also is no outside audible. So if the alarm goes off, nobody's really going to hear it unless they're actually walking by the building.
Is this motion detected to there, Dwayne, or?
No, that would come under a burglar alarm. I'm sure they could do it, but it's not in this quote.
So this to be attached right to the police station, correct?
No,
No?
No.
which is why it includes the outside audible alarm. It's not wired into anything. It's basically our interior smoke detection system.
Okay.
We don't, this doesn't go to, what, Dwayne, this doesn't go to central station, any central station?
No. You could, and I'd have to revisit the quote, have it go to Norris. Norris has a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week operators that the alarm would go to, and they would call the dispatch center.
No, we currently don't have anything that goes to an outside security firm.
Right.
No?
No, not anywhere.
Would it be real expensive to add a burglar alarm system, considering we have all the CATV stuff in here?
We could certainly go back, like Dwayne said, revisit it and go back and bid this out with that kind of pieces in it and get that information. I wouldn't dare venture a guess as to what it would cost. So it would be the installation of the equipment, and then there would be an annual maintenance agreement that would go along with it every year.
So this won't be attached
For
to
that.
like the doors and windows at all, or just?
No, this is just the smoke alarm system, the
Okay.
internal piece. That's all this is
Okay.
to fix the existing smoke fire
Okay.
system.
You're probably looking at close to doubling that if you
Really?
want to put in,
Yeah.
I just had one done not that long ago at the transportation building down in Waterville, and that was 8,000.
Ouch.
And you're looking at least a couple of thousand for annual maintenance.
And how much money has been invested in CATV equipment?
Oh, it's completely worthwhile. It's just not anything that we started looking at, so.
I would recommend if you was going to put a burglar that you would want that contact with Norris so that they would get the alarm.
Yeah, we don't need anything like happened like last time with the 2 break-ins.
I think, for me, I would like to see how much it would cost with a burglar alarm or a security system, whatever we want to call it. Just because I think it would be to our advantage to have all our ducks lined up in a row. And then from there, maybe make a decision on what we want. The other question I had was, when would they be putting this in, since we now have the SAD 49 daycare here during the day? Would it be a school vacation?
I talked to them with that, and they can work around that because the daycare center mostly uses just the gym. Or they could move to other rooms while they were working.
We coordinate those sorts of things, like even when they came to do the inspection, they are made aware of that ahead of time so that they know that somebody else is coming into the facility.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have a coordination piece that we have to do with that.
Do we have other buildings that are using Norris for,
No,
so basically we're having a new system put in, and we've got one bid on it because Norris was the only one that had originally done this.
No, I
Seacoast.
believe Seacoast.
Seacoast, and we got Kia Security.
Originally put it in.
So
Okay.
we should have 3 bids, according to our
Good.
policy. I really think I think we should have like CARE or maybe this
Seacoast.
Seacoast company have a say in this too. I think it's only right, and that because right now, it's like a monopoly in our town for this company, and I really think we need to expand our bid search.
We can do that. This is the only location that has this type of system, though, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This is required for the occupancy.
So we can redo this and bring it back to you. It probably won't be your next meeting.
Okay.
If they can give us two options on that, one for just fire, and then one for fire and security,
Yep.
and your
Motion.
your service for Central Station isn't an exorbitant amount of money. That might be maybe $1,000 a year.
Yeah, they attach it right to the police station.
No, it goes directly to Central Station, and they call whoever
Yeah, my
the,
wife's got one.
Yeah.
Yep. We can certainly do that.
whoever's on the contact list, so they can get calls at 11 o'clock at night.
Right?
Yeah.
Well, it would go to the fire department.
Fire department, yes. We'll put-
That's where it would go.
Maybe we should put the chief
Or
at
the
the top.
police department, depending on the alarm.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Christine, you
Please.
had a question?
No, just the motion you have on the table was by Thibodeau, seconded by Lawrence. To approve this is just to let you know what you have out there.
So the best thing for you to do would be to take the vote no, and know that we
Table.
just bring it back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We will take a vote then. All in favor? None. All opposed?
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll take care of it.
And we will bring it up on our next meeting. We'll have the full, if we get 3 bids, we don't know, they'll go out to at least 3 people, and then we'll get what we got, and I think we probably should have enough money in there to cover the cost on that.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Now we come to item 2104, and if everybody will get their calendars out. 2021 calendar. Okay, set times and dates. Annual organizational meeting business. And one is to set the dates, times, and locations of the town council meetings to be held in 2021.
I make a motion, we hold a similar schedule that we held for 2020, second and fourth Tuesday, Wednesday of every month at 6:30.
And I'll second that.
Discussion? Okay, we will set that as the lead. All in favor? Opposed is none. All right. So that'll be set the same second and fourth Wednesday of every month, same as 2020. Now, we've got a couple of things, if we want to get it into the item, into calendar too, we've got a couple of, like in October, November, and December, where we run into holidays, Christmas time, elections, that we probably will need to make changes on those 3 months.
Right.
You have one in June, too.
Yeah. I was looking at the June. We meet right after the election in June.
Yes.
And I
You want,
was wondering if we should go to the 16th and the 30th in June, because it is a 5-week month.
Didn't we do that in 2020?
I can't remember that far back.
No, the election schedule was different last year.
Yeah.
The way that everything
We didn't
fell.
have an election in June, we had one in July.
Right.
Oh, had it in July.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, all of this being said, too, what's going to be coming to you soon to discuss is actually the town meeting schedule. Because you may end up in the same situation you were in last year, whereas it's not open town meeting and it's referendum. There's supposed to be some updates coming out of MMA and possibly the governor's office within the next several weeks, simply because there's some questions that need to be addressed for folks who had March town meetings that weren't addressed last year, because when the COVID piece hit, it was after most of those meetings had already happened. So town meeting discussion will be coming up soon, so that you will know what that looks like.
So John, maybe we just need to play it by ear as we get to those months. We're pretty flexible.
The
Yeah, well, I would say June is definitely tentative. I would, looking at the 16th and the 30th, but,
Irregardless, there actually is still an election on that date in June.
Yeah, I
Because
know.
the school election, in case
Right.
that wasn't
Yeah.
clear. Sorry.
yeah,
Just to let you
understand
know.
that, yeah. And then in May, you have the town meeting on the 3rd, or on the 10th. And then our meeting is on the 12th, so
That's a busy week.
that's another one, that could be a tentative move.
Well, and like I said, your town meeting may get moved to June.
Yeah, all right,
If you did referendum, it would go to June, would be
Yeah.
our recommendation. And the way the governor's order is right now, you still have the authority to circumvent the charter, so that you wouldn't have to have it on the second Monday in May. But that's what we're waiting on, is to find out whether or not those orders are still going to stay in place, or whether they're going to change when they roll out the new stuff for March.
Yeah.
So what we could do is know that this schedule just comes back as part of your discussion when we discuss town meeting.
Yep.
Because there are still some questions. I don't foresee there being an issue with changing the June to 60th and the 30th. The little bit of concern I have is that 30th is fiscal year end.
Oh.
And so when it comes to the warrant and the bills and the closeout for our fiscal year, I think the 30th is going to pose a bit of a problem for you. But I would want to double check that with the treasurer first before I give you a definitive answer.
right. Well, we could always go with the 2nd and the
Yep.
23rd, or the 16th and the 23rd. I mean, there's,
That would give us two meetings in a row.
Yeah.
Like 26th May, then the 2nd of June.
Yeah.
Two in a row.
right. So play it by ear on that one. So it looks like what we do is accept the current schedule and
Which is what you've done, and we can come back and
come
readdress these
back,
things as they get
and
closer.
discuss every month.
I put, I know we got our budget meetings in February. We haven't got that dates planned yet.
Yeah, right. All right. So what I would do is, did we have a?
You voted on your calendar
You're all
already?
set.
We've already
You're all
done
set?
it. Yeah,
Yep.
got it. All right, so we're set.
It's
there.
always flexible,
Yeah.
so.
All right, now we move on to appointments by the town council. And, let's see. We have all kinds.
All kinds.
All right, you've got an A list and a C list.
So number 2 is for the A list to take up.
I'm sorry, but,
Item number 2 is to take up the list A.
yeah,
And C? No.
And
No, C is list.
So it's A and C.
A and C, and
Yeah.
then the second item was list B.
Yeah.
Okay. I did have a question, John,
Yes.
and it has to do with the Charter Commission review, and it's to be determined. And I know that we've had some applications for Charter Commission. So,
That's on list C.
list A. Well, it's A and C,
Yep.
yeah.
So the Charter Review Committee is on list C,
Council appointment separate.
and the appointment rep to that is a separate item.
That's item 4, to select a counselor.
Oh, okay.
Item 4.
Yeah. Yeah, I see it now. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right.
And just so that you'll know, I don't mind going and representing us at the charter.
All right, so we want to talk about A?
Can we do list A in mass?
Yes. You
Yes.
can do list A and C in mass.
We can.
Yes. So the thing to remember is that unless otherwise specified in your list, council appointments are for a one-year term set to expire at the date and time of the annual organizational meeting in 2022,
2, not 21.
not 21.
They've expired.
And all of these folks, I believe, that are before you are existing members coming back for reappointment.
And they all have agreed, nobody's. said
Everybody
they
that's
don't
on
want
this
to.
list is someone that the town clerk has physically spoken to and has confirmed that they are interested. You do have some folks on list C
The new, yeah.
that were not interested, but some other folks who have stepped forward. So you have new applicants noted off to the side, or the applicants would remain the same. The Charter Review Committee is brand new. That is an every 5-year appointment. That was part of the charter when we passed it 5 years ago.
Okay.
So that's a new group, but the rest of them are all the same.
And we only received 5 applications for the Charter Review Committee, and there's only 5 seats for outside of that council appointment.
And a lot of the folks that are on it, well, a few of them were actually on the original Charter Commission when we did the revision, so,
Correct.
which is good.
Yep.
Okay, so I guess if we take it this way, the first would be to take and, I would look for a motion to accept A and B.
See,
C, C.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to accept list A and C as printed.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All in favor? Carries full. All right. Now I will look for a confirmation on appointments made by the town manager, which would be B. And B consists of the, all the town positions.
I'll make a motion to accept the town manager's appointments as written in Part B.
Second?
Discussion. Any discussion?
just
Yes?
one thing for you.
Yes.
We've been doing a lot of research on this. For those of you that have been on the council since I started working here, we've always been looking for ways to try to, it's been our goal to shorten this process.
Right.
So one of the things that we have found is that a staff appointment is for the duration of their employment unless otherwise, specified by state statute. And list B now has that listed atop of it. Manager appointments are for duration of employment unless specified in statute. All of these folks will probably not ever be back before you again as town employees unless they have a term that cannot exceed the 1-year piece. Because, and that will stop this piece from you to have to come back, because they're all employees. There's an expectation that they will be appointed year after year after year, so. we
And how
try.
does this work with RJD appraisals?
So that is a contract. Okay, so that would be an appointment for the duration of their contract. But by law, you can't appoint an assessor any longer than, was it 3 or 5 years anyway?
I think I believe the assessor was 5 and road commissioner was
And
3.
Road commissioner is 3, I think.
Would the title of that one also be 2021 instead of?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, sorry. Oh. I will correct that, thank you.
Unless you want to go back and live in 2020 over again.
I'll pass on that one.
Nobody said no one ever.
That's a no from me.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor? Passes full. All right. The next on the agenda will be appoint one town councillor to serve on the Charter Review Committee.
I appoint Stephanie Thibodeau as, for this committee.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
We have a first and a second. Any discussion?
No.
Do you accept this nomination?
She's
I
elected
do
to.
accept this nomination.
I know, okay.
I'm not giving you the
You're the
option.
only choice there, Stephanie. You're doing a
give her the
fantastic
option.
job at it.
Yeah. All right. All those in favor? Carries full. Abstain?
One abstain.
One abstain.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
One opposed.
All right. Now we will move on to our seventh order of business, which is council workshop and other businesses. Discuss the annual town report dedication.
Oh, there's a list here somewhere.
I had an idea.
Uh-oh.
For the dedication of the town report, 2020 was a big year for us because the Teague family sold their business. And for years, they've been a mainstay within the community. And I didn't know how you felt about this, but I thought that would be a nice recognition, considering that, it's really 3 generations,
We also have the Hammond family
Yeah.
sold their business too.
Yeah, but the Teagues have been here longer, and starting with Jack's father,
Tommy.
Tom.
Tommy.
And he was a state legislator as
The
well.
senator back in 1980.
Yeah. I just think it's nice to recognize what they have done for us as a community. And I know it's a business, that's, and there were gains made and all that, but I still think that as a community, it's going to be missed.
So you could narrow it down to just the Teague
The
family.
business,
I would call it
the
the
business
Teague.
is still there.
It's not called Teagues.
It's not called Teagues anymore, but
But
the
it's
Teagues
the-
do still work there, because
For
Trafton
temp-
works there.
For a while. But I think to recognize the Teague family and what they have done for the community. I just think, I don't know. That's the only one I could think of. It's up for discussion.
Anyone else have any ideas that they want to verse out or talk about?
And you don't have to
Report
decide tonight,
dedication.
because this is going on your next agenda as an
Right.
item.
Yep. Yeah, so these are, so you do have the list all the way back to 2003, who we have dedicated it to.
Yeah.
And some ideas down at the bottom, where from your past conversations that have come up for various different items with this.
Okay.
All right.
Bring that forth and put it on our next agenda.
So anyone who comes up with, if anybody has another idea
They can bring it
before
up.
your next meeting,
Yeah.
please make sure you email
Yeah,
it to me.
When do we have to get this done by?
This was an action item at your next meeting, so
Okay.
in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So if you have any other ideas, email it to me so we can make sure it gets included with the list for your discussion at your next meeting.
Yeah. And then the next one on that list would be the annual Spirit of America Award.
And this one is usually done to honor a volunteer who has contributed within our community, whether it be an individual or an organization.
Right. We don't have to come up again, we don't have to come up with a name tonight. We can just, if we bring it out and have people contact us or whatever with ideas and stuff and put it up to the next agenda, that'll be all right too. So we'll go into discussion.
There was also items on the list that were previously.
Oh, I know.
suggested.
Yeah,
We'll
we've got-
get to each one.
Yeah.
This is Spirit of America first, as a thing. So if nobody's got any names tonight, we'll just move on and then make sure we bring names in within the next week and a half. All right, third item on the agenda then is the, discuss the code of conduct. Everybody got a copy of it and what was written in there? And any discussion? Anybody have anything on it that they'd like to talk about?
We haven't made any changes to this for a while. But it is something that you do review at every
Yeah.
year.
You know, the only thing that I can think of that needs to be addressed somewhere, and it goes back to even our standards and goals, is the use of technology. And is it really stated within here about how we should use technology?
You should apply this
Our
code of
social
conduct
media.
to Facebook, to Twitter, to whatever social media
So
platform.
it should have the words "to social media," the word "social media" within it?
No,
No?
you should apply yourself to that as well. This should apply to everything in your conduct. If you're dealing anything where you're a representative to the town of Fairfield.
Right.
Or portraying yourself as a representative to the town of Fairfield.
So it has to, you have to remember that all of this code of conduct is in place for anyone who is a representative of our municipality, regardless whether it be social media, whether it be in public, whether it be you could be at a conference, you could be out of state. If you are acting in any way, shape, or form, or representing yourself as a member or representative of this municipality, this is the code of conduct you
Right.
follow in all things that you do.
All right, so if it doesn't need to be stated in black and white.
It has actually come up, actually, in the past with some committee members and the way that they have behaved on social media, and these components have been put back and highlighted and sent to them so that those actions were corrected.
Okay.
Okay.
I would just add one, just
Yes, go ahead.
on it, to tack on to that. Technology is addressed in the records retention, which you receive every time a person's elected into office. So, and it's also abbreviated in that, the next item, the elected officials memo, so that you can't use your technology of any kind, like email, social media, without it becoming freedom of access if you're acting on behalf of the town.
Correct.
Yeah, that's in the next piece that's on here.
Right, so it's addressed elsewhere.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we need any more discussion on this?
No.
Yeah.
All right, next, the next is number 4. Discuss elected officials, municipal and state protocols, annual reminders.
I've only got one thing, and it has to do with our situation on the Economic Committee, where there's 2 counselors present. Is there anything in our protocols, policies, that states there can only be 1 counselor, 1 voting member anywhere?
So I had thought that that was in some sort of the function of that committee. I haven't found that yet, actually, and I quite frankly haven't had a chance to look very long.
Because
for that.
I looked too, and I didn't see.
And so, and I think that group has some pretty, it's not really bylaws, but it was various different pieces. And one of the things that you do have, so the rule that does come into play with elected officials, especially counselors, is 3 or more sitting on a committee. Because then that could constitute an actual council meeting.
And we're aware of that, but in all the years I've been on the Economic Committee, it's never been an issue with who's voting. So,
Well,
Is
and
it
so
something that we
the
need to
reason for that
address?
was because what has happened is that technically when the minutes were taken, they weren't necessarily all counted. You know what I mean? Even though people voted, they weren't actually captured, I don't think.
When I wrote them, it was a number
It was just a number.
approved or.
Yeah. So, but I know we're gonna look at that, because what I had been told originally was that the council, when a council member sits on a committee, it's usually in an advisory capacity only, and not an actual official voting member of a committee. And the reason for that is the appearance of the fact that anything that that committee does then in turn almost looks as though it's guaranteed acceptance by the town council. But I was going to look at that, because it had been brought up to me, and I haven't found it either, so we're going to keep looking at that.
Well, and I will say that as being one of the people that formed that council and actually started it, no, it was fine. Everybody that was sat on the committee, it was a roundtable discussion type of thing, and everybody voted. There was
Everybody
nobody
voted.
that was eliminated that couldn't vote or whatever.
If that happens.
And that's what it was.
And it may be simply because of the fact that that body doesn't really have any major decision-making authority.
That
Yeah,
is
advisory.
correct.
Doesn't matter.
It's just an advisory
Yeah.
board.
Yeah, the issue with that is we never have a quorum.
Well, and that's the reason why
That's the
it
issue.
came up in conversation. Yeah, that was part of the conversation that generated that.
But again, it does mean, do we have to have language somewhere that says council members are there for
Well,
advisory only
and that would
not
be up
voting?
to the current people that are on that board and want to
Right.
discuss it and bring it up and do it.
So that committee was, part of that conversation was they were looking at their numbers, because they have been having a very difficult time finding a quorum. We're hoping this time change fixes that.
Yeah,
Because this
timing
committee
is
has
tough.
open enrollment, like you have no specific, like you have some committees where it's only 5 members or 6 members,
Yeah.
whatever. This is open enrollment, so
That is
anybody can
correct.
be on it. And what was happening is the more people who decided they want to be involved because a particular project was great. When the project was over, they didn't want to, they didn't come back or they moved on. So you had a committee that had 8 members on it.
Yeah.
And the most you could ever get to attend a meeting was 4, and that's not a quorum. So it was becoming a big problem, but.
Yep. So it would be, I would just put it to the committee and let them write up,
And that's what they're
put
working
together
on.
their
The
situation,
chairman
put it
was
on, and do what they want to do.
working on that this week, so.
Yeah, I mean, when we initially put that committee together and brought people together, it wasn't really something that we had, these big plans for. It was something to move us forward as a town and, get things done.
Okay,
So with that, I guess we just need more residents be involved in these committees.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and we had, there was also more business people involved too, so it's a matter of trying to reach out to the local businesses and get more of the people that own those businesses involved also.
So I could, yeah.
All right, so next on the agenda would be to discuss council meeting procedure brochure.
is this given to everybody when they come in, Christine? It's on the podium, right?
It's on, yeah, it is. It's on the podium, and the only thing I would have had to change, if you have no changes, would have been if the officers had changed. I have no proposed changes at this time from my end, and I don't know about the manager.
And we do usually, when we know we have new people that have actually come in personally, we make sure we give them.
I try to walk up to everybody.
Yep. And this has been shared in, this document actually exists in quite a few other municipalities now at this point, so.
Well,
Yeah, it's been,
it was a great piece.
it has been stolen by many a town.
We didn't get copyrights on this?
No,
Okay.
because I actually think we took a big portion of the deal from some other community too, so. But it does work out well, because if you've never been to a council meeting, you don't know what to expect, and you don't know what you're supposed to do, so I think it's a good piece. We may have to add a section to it about Zoom soon, if the world keeps going the way it is, but as of right now, it's still good.
Yeah, we can put that right down below or something.
Yep. Okay. So if everybody's okay with that, then we'll move on to number 6, which is discuss town council goals and standards for 2021.
We're going to take it standard by standard, John?
Yeah, we still have it changed from 2020
Whatever you wanna
to
do.
2021.
Well, and these are your last year's goals, and I apologize for not having the opportunity to update how many of these you've actually met throughout the course of the year.
Well, we pretty much know.
Yep.
The only thing on standard number 1, the town council is committed to tax stewardship for the citizens of Fairfield, which will result in cost effectiveness and efficiency. Number 1 is sustainable solutions for lower taxes.
I take exception to that. I was around for the start of this, but I have since come to the realization that it's close to a fallacy. That doesn't happen in this day and age. Health insurance goes up, wages goes up, the cost of everything goes up. The ultimate opportunity to lower taxes without significantly reducing services is borderline impossible. No, I would dare say it is impossible without reducing services to something, whether it's the fire department, the police department, or public works. To commit to tax stewardship for the citizens in cost-effective and efficiency, I'm all over that. If we are using those tax dollars in the most efficient and the most wise manner possible, that's great. But anybody that thinks that you're going to be able to lower taxes without sacrificing something in the long term, people say, well, your capital improvement accounts. Look at our road fund. It's laughably low. We can't even do enough to maintain the roads we have in town because we don't go up on taxes. We go up 10,000, what is it, $10,000 a year, Michelle, was our, and $10,000 will get us, what, how many hundreds of feet?
Oh, I don't even think it's 100.
No, we might get a few hundred, might get a couple hundred
Maybe.
feet out of $10,000. So,
Not
I
if
mean,
you're doing a reconstruction, you're not.
No, I mean, it's, you know, it's laughably low, and we're not even building maintenance. You know, our capital improvement accounts for our buildings, if something happens, we're...
You just discussed a fire alarm system that was installed in 1974.
Yes, our upkeep is lax.
So is it the wording of the standard or the goals, Michael?
The goal to lower taxes, I believe, is,
That wording.
yes. It's, unless you are significantly reducing services, if we cut the police force in half, the fire department in half, and public works in half, we can lower the taxes for the occupants of this town.
I think what needs to go in there is the word maintaining lower taxes. Because
We
if you think.
can't even maintain lower taxes.
Well, we've got things in place, like we have a 5-year road plan. We have a system of replenishing and purchasing vehicles. I mean, that's all to keep the taxes lower. So I think as a council, we have to maintain lower, we strive to maintain lower taxes.
Maybe the word you're looking for is stable. If you're thinking about capital improvement plans, that's to keep your taxes stable. Meaning, if you need a new fire truck, you don't have to come up with $400,000 in any one given tax year. You've saved the money all along.
Right.
So that creates stability. as opposed to your ups, your huge increases for that bit of, that bit of equipment and then a drop afterwards. You do seek, okay, so part of this phrase is actually good, to seek innovative and sustainable solutions for lower taxes. If you think about the context of the time that we spent and the exploring that was done for the street light change. Okay, so when we switched to LED streetlights, you had to spend money to save money. And while we're not saving money right now because you're paying back the program in which you did it, but you were innovative in the way that we did it, whereas we didn't take out a loan. We used an existing CD. We loaned ourselves the money as opposed to paying interest or putting out a bond. And we're going to continue to fund that line until we've paid back that CD. So you have done quite a few things that are innovative. They're different. And you are doing sustainable solutions. But I think I get Michael's point, whereas the goal of knowing that you're going to lower taxes every single year, you're at the point where that can't be your goal anymore.
Right.
And maybe it's that you
I
need
agree
to,
with you.
you need to sustain your
Yeah.
taxes, because at this point, in order to lower taxes, you will have to make choices as to which services you no longer want to provide.
How about if we take out lower and put sustainable?
Sustainable taxes would be, yes.
Okay.
I mean, for some people in this town, the current tax rate is borderline sustainable for them.
Yep, we
Right.
can play with this line a little bit, because you've got,
Yeah.
you'd have sustainable in there twice, so let's play with that. And
Yeah.
I heard the word stewardship. Are we going to add that into the?
stewardship is in the very first line.
It's in the first,
It's in the standard.
All right, I was sticking right to what he had said. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
you know, a lot of this comes from, it goes in front of the budget committee, and they're like, well, why do you need this money? We're just going to cut this line out.
Yeah.
And, then everybody goes, yes, we're looking at lower taxes, we're not increasing the
Yeah.
tax rate this much, and everybody goes, yep, that's great. And then next year, well, we can only do 2 roads
Yeah.
because prices have increased and we have no money to do this stuff with.
Yeah, so to seek innovative solutions for sustainable taxes. That would work.
Yep.
Well worded.
Thank you.
There we go.
Nice commenting by you, too.
Oh,
So to oversee that public finances are properly managed by reviewing, updating, and prioritizing a multi-year capital plan that addresses the town needs. We're doing that. That works. That works. To oversee the bid processes, which are fair, open, and competitive.
yep.
That's always on our mind. To protect the provision of essential services for tax relief. I think, is that okay? I think we do that well, especially with,
Is this like essential services for, is this what are we referring to here? Like abatements or essential services?
I don't know.
What is
This has been in here since before my arrival.
I'm trying to figure out what does anybody understand what the context is on this?
not really. To protect the provision of essential, to me, essential services are our fire department, our police department,
And public
public
work?
works.
I mean, that doesn't necessarily provide tax relief.
No.
It gives you some of it gives you a discount on your insurance, but it's not tax relief. You could probably take that section
I
out.
agree with that. I'm in favor of taking that out. Anybody else?
Or if you just take off for tax relief,
But again, how does that relate to taxes?
well, we're making sure that we have essential services in the town, i.e. fire department, police department,
So
public
that
works in
taxes
town.
will provide for that. Yeah,
Or it's not tax relief, we just protect the provision of essential.
services through
Essential
tax
ser-
stewardship. Yeah,
Well, you could change relief to payers.
there you go.
Of-
That would work. To protect the provision of essential services for tax. I like that. Okay. Number 5, to oversee the protection of the town's investments by maintaining all equipment, buildings, and infrastructure.
That's key.
Yeah, that's key. And I've made a note of the 201 corridor, the water supply. Is that something that should be noted for us for this year's goals? Michelle? Or is that blanket?
If that's something that you would like to have as your goal, I think that that might be a good thing to add. It doesn't necessarily fall under tax stewardship, though.
No, but it could be a different standard.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it probably would fall underneath number 3 to some degree.
Oh, that would probably fall under our economic development, oh, no, that's,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's,
I think it probably would, actually.
that one's the Venn diagram of life going on right there.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's the, what will enhance assets and amenities. It kind of fits
yeah.
under standard 3.
So standard 2 is the positive public relations. The town council will be accountable to the citizens of Fairfield. Public relations is a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships between organizations and their publics. And the only thing I had down there is number 5. I don't think that's happening. It's not because we don't want it to happen. I think, is it communication?
Self-control.
I mean, I don't know.
It's a communications level, and the problem is that the school is a separate entity. It's not like they're connected like like in Waterville and stuff like that. They vote on their own, and they come up with their own figures. We have really no say-so in that manner. I think we put this in here simply because what we'd like to do, if it ever comes to pass, is to, do a kind of a combined meeting and let them go over what they've got and stuff like that. And, we could say things here and there and go from there, but that's never been it's never happened.
Yeah, and the other thing is, we're not just doing this with tax relief, but we are working as a network. We help with their plowing. Maybe we
I
don't
have
need that.
conversations with MSAD 49.
Yeah,
And try to get updates regarding their budget process and various different things, or if there's things that we can cost share. Like when we did the street light piece, because they are a separate entity, we had reached out to them about the possibility of piggybacking on the street light conversion, because there are roughly, I don't know, half a dozen to a dozen street lights that they actually own, which we did not have the authority to change. So when it comes to those sorts of things. I do that, but these are council's goals, so.
but maybe we don't need that part that says during the budget process to discuss tax relief strategies. Maybe we just need to collaborate with them more on whatever needs arise.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that with, I know, was it last year that we worked with them on the plowing, and we got that, to where we saved them money, and it's communicated and things like that. There's just different little things that could come up over the period of time where,
We cost them,
one can help the other one and maybe save some money.
we
Anyways,
cost them money during that process,
to
John.
discuss.
Huh?
We cost them money during that process.
So to collaborate with MSAD 49 board to discuss tax relief strategies or tax reduction?
Or just,
Because
Or just tax strategies.
Or it could just be to collaborate with the board, period, because section is about public relations and a strategic communication process.
Yeah.
And builds mutually beneficial relationships between the organizations. You could just leave it at, to collaborate with MSAD 49 school board,
period.
period.
Yeah, I'm in favor of that.
Yeah.
And that way
Okay.
it's on anything.
It probably will
That'll
never,
work.
it'll probably never reach page 3, but that's okay.
Okay. Standard number 3, the town council will implement planning and development for economic growth in the town of Fairfield which will enhance assets and amenities, attract new business, create new jobs, and expand the tax base to include collaboration with Central Maine Growth Council, Kennebec Valley Council of Governments, Kennebec Regional Development Authority, and Mid-Maine Chamber of Commerce.
Yep.
I had nothing wrong,
No,
nothing there.
absolutely, because
No.
it's being the size of an area that we are and wanting to bring jobs in. I mean, I don't care where the jobs evolve from a company standpoint or what town, that's going to affect every area in town because there's going to be people living in each one of those towns that work there.
Yep, exactly.
We don't need to add the Somerset, within the Somerset County, because I know they have the Chamber of Commerce, I think,
The Somerset Economic
Yeah.
Committee?
SEDC?
SEDC, yeah.
Yeah.
Somerset Economic Development Corporation.
That's a good.
Yes.
We're not a
that's-
member, we're not a member of the chamber out of Skowhegan.
No.
But SEDC should probably be
Yeah.
added.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah. Yeah, and I think the goals are good. Downtown waterfront revitalization, the industrial road connector, and of course, the proposed fire department training facility.
Yep.
It's already there, we've been approved, but maybe what we need to do is to, instead of having the word proposed,
just the,
see to completion. Any ideas there, Chief?
Implementation of, or?
It's already been approved, so what's the next
Right.
step after approval? It's implementation? Construction of?
Develop, construction?
Development. Could be development.
I like development.
Yeah. It's just a matter of getting
Yeah.
getting everybody to give us the money.
Yeah, we're waiting for a grant from the state.
Yeah. That should be coming right up, though, right?
if they,
Or was that postponed because of COVID?
It was approved, it was postponed because they don't have any money.
Oh, so we got the grant, with it just,
just wait for the new, the governor's.
Just waiting for them to find the money.
Right.
Just wait for the new
Okay.
proposed budget to come out, which is out already. Just wait for the implementation or
Yeah.
a vote on it.
Yeah. Now, do we still have CDBG grants? Because we've got our own now for,
So CDBG grants, they're community development block grants. Those are actually federal funds, and they're still available. Their scope is much more narrow than what they ever used to be. But they're still out there. In fact, actually, believe it or not, there will be a CDBG application that should be coming before you within the next month or so, because they still have to be administered by municipalities. Municipalities have to receive those funds, but it's actually for a local business here in town to expand, and it'll be subject to public hearing, and we have to approve the funds, we have to accept them, and then we give them to the business for a pass-through. So it's still it's an active section of grants. It's just not funded the way that it used to be. I mean, it used to be municipalities would get CDBG grants every other year and do all this stuff in their downtowns and all these locations, and it just doesn't have the funding at the federal level like it used to, but it's still there.
all right. And I know a lot of that's done through the Central Maine Growth Council.
Yes.
Are there any
Yeah,
other?
Christine?
CDBG used to be administered by Cog, actually.
Oh,
Not
really?
the Growth Council. Yep.
Christine, go ahead.
Before you guys move on, where did you want the 201 corridor topic added? You said this section, but you didn't specify where you'd like to see it.
I'd put it under number 1. No, I guess it could go under either one, actually.
And I was
But
I
I
was
still would-
torn.
It's going to be a key project.
Yeah,
So
big one. CDBG doesn't fund
they might,
that one.
they might. It's one of the ones that we're looking at.
It's infrastructure.
We're looking at a lot of them.
Okay, standard 4, we put in last year for the town council to do a thorough review of the town of Fairfield. And we did everything but number 4. So I would like to just have that be the only goal. at our next meeting, we do need to wrap it up with the planning board and our financial
Yep.
packages.
And that's in motion for
And that's
that
in
to be
motion.
happening.
But I
And
think,
then I would thinking, discussions with regards to number 4 would come through after you put that report together that you
Right.
were looking to do, and
Yeah.
that would be a good thing to do.
yeah, so for
But you've done
standard
it.
4, just make number 4 number 1.
You've done a great job on all the rest of it.
Thank you. And then we've got a partial list of our accomplishments
Yeah,
this
and those are
year.
left over from last year, so they're
Yeah,
not,
so,
that didn't get updated for this year.
but overall, for me, the only thing is there's no community development, really.
What do you mean there's no community
Well,
development?
we're doing stuff, but I mean, I think about it, the Fairfield of yore.
Can't think about the Fairfield of yore.
No,
And you can't think
Keep
about
looking
business
forward.
of yore.
Keep looking forward. We
Because
were
a lot
going
of
to do
businesses-
stuff.
It takes time.
One of the things that we're going to start doing, the town clerk and I have already discussed, going forward this year, you will find on every monthly report a listing of the business licenses that we have issued here in town. So that you will know, because that's kind of one of those things where there are businesses that are opening here in town, but the business appearance of yours is gone, and a lot of people operate out of their homes and not necessarily brick and mortar storefronts. There's a lot of businesses out there that are functioning here in our municipality that just don't have a storefront and a front door, other than it's the front door to their house, and their business is operated out of a room in their house, but there's still a functioning business that is happening here in town. So, and some of them are brick and mortar, but we're going to start giving you that every month in
That would be
your
nice.
big monthly report, so you'll be able to see those. Like, you already do receive the number.
Right.
Like, in the breakdown for the vital statistics that you get, that's already there, but we're going to start actually putting a little bit more focus on that, so that you can actually see tangibly what it is that's out there, what kind of businesses they are, where they're kind of located and that kind of stuff, so you can start seeing that kind of stuff. Because remember, if you look downtown, I mean, other than the vacant lots of land we have in what is considered, the regular Main Street section, there is no commercial space available for anybody to do anything in. We do have businesses that contact us all the time that want to come to downtown Fairfield, and there is no place for them to go. Because the storefronts that are empty, the people that own them want them to be empty. And there's nothing that we can do about that. So unless there's some new construction downtown in some of these vacant lots, which some of these developers that own these properties, it's become very difficult for that to happen. But in the meantime, we do have sections of town where there's quite a bit happening here. If you think about, you mentioned the Teagues earlier, and they sold to an out-of-state company, and they're coming here and they're expanding. The Hammond Tractor sold to an out-of-state company. They're bringing their head offices here, and they're expanding. You have BDS Tire that came, and they're through their first phase, and they've started construction on their second phase. So they're expanding. We're talking to businesses here in town that not only are existing businesses that are growing, but businesses in the area that are coming here for their space that we have to expand.
Yeah, and I think that's all very good economic development. The part of the community development is getting more people involved in what we're doing. And that, I think, is a big hole, but it's
In that, I think
nature of the
is-
beast these days.
And that it's not just Fairfield, that is a statewide, nationwide issue.
That's correct.
Civic-mindedness.
And it's not just the fact that folks aren't civil-minded. I think what happens is that so many people are so busy, and the world doesn't work the way that it used to. A lot of your households are not that, mom is not staying home taking the care of the kids all day, and dad's going off to work and then coming home at the end of the day, and everybody has free time in the evening. It's not your typical family unit anymore.
Some you have two incomes, or some might have to work 2 jobs.
Yeah.
the days
It's
of
the
filling
nature of the beast, so.
the days of filling the junior high school gymnasium for a town meeting are
They're gone.
gone. I mean, we'd be lucky to fill this room for a town meeting.
But
on
even
a-
doing things for Fairfield Pride, and like, we were going to do something for October days, Fairfield Days in October, and then COVID hit, and You know, I just hope that something will come about in '21, maybe after COVID has left us, or we can look for '22 to do something, but it'd be nice to.
I have heard that some folks are having a lot of success with asking folks to participate and volunteer in projects as opposed to committees. So that if it was, you knew you were going to do, say you knew you were going to go paint the fence somewhere, and not that we have a fence to paint, but
Short-term stuff.
but short-term stuff, and it was, you put out the call to arms, and they will come,
Yeah.
and they will be active that day, and they will do their, because they want to contribute to their communities. The problem is that they don't have time in their lives to do long-term commitments on a regular basis, because the world just isn't as nice and neat as it used to be.
No,
You can't stop at Greenlaw's Restaurant and then go to Laverdier's and then head to Western Auto.
remember
after.
those days, huh?
Oh, yeah.
But we'll keep evolving.
Yes, we will.
What else we got?
Them go through that progress list.
Okay.
To it for us.
No, they don't need to go through that, that's old
Okay.
stuff.
Thank you.
Where else?
We're on the administrative policy.
Okay, so we move on to number 7, discuss town council administrative policy and fee schedule.
We don't have any proposed changes to that at this time either.
I think that all of the marijuana places, they're pretty much all set up now.
Yep, yeah, we had that last fix that you had to do because there was a
Yeah.
new category that we didn't have.
Right.
But so far, so good. Our policy within our land use ordinance is working out quite well. The interaction between the planning board, these businesses, and the state is also working very well. I'm not aware of any major complaints that have come in recently, any of that stuff, so it's good. I know what will be happening, though. I believe the planning board is going to start working on the medical marijuana side of things, because there's some regulations that are coming in with that, and right now, what we have is retail.
Yeah.
So they'll be working on that side of it.
They're trying to marry them together, the same policy, rather than two separate policies.
Because originally, where medical existed beforehand, the new regulations, when they came out, it was for retail.
Do you know offhand, Michelle, how many medical marijuana places we have in the town?
I don't off the top of my head
3.
right now. I believe at one
Three?
point in time, we had somewhere in the neighborhood of between 23 and
Right.
28 licensed, but I don't know what they currently are, but I can certainly find that out.
It fluctuates.
It does.
It does, because some of them that take out a business license, they're actually medical, so that they may be here very short term. I know we have, I believe it's only the one location on 139 that is the retail, that actually has their state license and is open for business.
Interesting.
Okay. Other council business to discuss. I'll start with Stephanie.
I have none.
Michael.
I'm good, thank you.
Peter.
I'm good.
Mark.
I am all set, sir.
And I'm good. I think we're moving along in a good forward direction on our PFAS situation. We talked about it and looked around and stuff like that, and one thing that just I would kind of like to point out is the fact that this is not a Fairfield situation. This is actually a nationwide situation, but particularly in the state, that there's a lot of things going out to all communities, because every community is suffering from the same
This even
situation.
hits the military installations too.
Yeah. So it's something that we're going to have to, it's something we're going to have to take apart. We're going to have to settle this on the whole state level and actually the whole nation level situation. That's all I got. There being no else, our next regular meeting of the Fairfield Town Council will be on Wednesday, January 27th, 2021, to be held as a hybrid meeting via Zoom in the council chambers, again at 6:30. At this time, we will go into recess, and sign all documents that require signatures of council members.
Motion?
Motion to go into recess?
Second.
All in favor? We're in recess.